Well,
Hi.
hello everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Joined with two fabulous gardeners here. We have Stevie from Digwell Green Fingers, not just
That
Steve.
that's a leftover from Danny, believe it or not. He put
Oh, I get
Stevie.
it.
It's sort of
I
stuck
get
on
it.
my dashboard. Yeah.
I get it. Yes. And we have Robin from Robin Gardens.
Hello.
Yeah, here we are.
Oh, I am hearing something in my background. Yes. And we have Robin from Robin Gardens. Okay.
Hello.
Here we are.
I think okay, sorry. Hearing something in my background. Yeah. There we go.
How's that?
Okay. So sorry. I have okay, sorry. I think I have a face or there we go. Instagram. Oh, not Instagram. Lord God. There we go. So sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay. So today I thought we would talk a bit about plant disease. One of our favorite topics. But unfortunately, one of those things that comes up and bites us many times. And again, proactivity, it's kind of like bugs. Being proactive is probably your best bet, but you can't always do that because you don't know what's
No,
coming.
no.
So I thought we would just talk about a few of the common ones. And if anybody in the chat has any questions about a specific one, we'll do our best to answer, but you know, we'll only answer what we're familiar with.
Mhm.
So anyway, I want to thank everybody in the chat for being here tonight or this
Oh,
afternoon. Sorry. Um,
tonight, yeah.
tonight, yeah, tonight or this
Oh,
afternoon or tomorrow morning if you're, in Australia. Uh, yeah, it's kind of hard to greet everybody with the same time frame, isn't it?
It's awkward, isn't it?
But
Yeah.
it's lovely. I mean, I love that. That's how it kind of works.
At least
Anyway,
it's all daylight here.
yes, we're all still in daylight. Okay, so I thought we might talk about blight, which is just a horrific thing. I thought we'd talk about powdery mildew, maybe some black spot, and anything else that you are. Oh, we do have a question about stopping or controlling rust.
Mm. D-
I don't,
No.
does rust.
Rust rust is not stoppable. It's an airborne disease. It lands on wet leaves of typically garlic first. And if it's around and you get it. There's nothing you can do. There's no domestic remedy for it. There's commercial remedies, but
Okay,
they're not very nice. Um, all we can do is take the lower leaves off as they get the little brown spots on, and either burn them or put them in municipal waste that's not composted. It's horrible stuff.
but it
it,
doesn't really affect the bulb of garlic, does it?
It doesn't affect the bulb, but it affects the size, the final size.
Okay,
So the more spotty bits you get up the leaf, the smaller the bulb will be eventually. So if
okay,
it's late in the season, you'll still have big bulbs. If it's early in the season, they won't be quite as big as they were last year, for example.
right, right, okay.
Um, yeah, now it's funny, really, because I've got this theory. I was going to mention this later on, so well done for mentioning it, Chris. I just got the name. Um, at the allotment, there's only 39 plots on our little site, and I've got rust. And most people grow garlic, and most people have got rust. So I've succumbed to rust. Now, at home, in my little front garden over there, I've got garlic growing, and it is as pristine as any green leaf you've ever seen.
Hmm.
There's nobody else on our little cul-de-sac grows garlic. So my theory is, once somebody gets it, everybody gets it. So Robin gets it, and it blows a little bit down there, and Audrey gets it, and then a little bit goes, and Steve gets it. But here, I've not got it. No one can give it to me. So they're looking fantastic. So fingers crossed there'll be a nice harvest this year.
So next year you're just going to grow garlic at home.
Yes. Yeah. Now the thing is, I keep saying every year, I'm not going to grow garlic again. I'm so fed up with it. It's the one crop you can't tell if it's the best garlic in the world or a supermarket garlic. You can't tell the difference. No celebrity chef says to you, use this garlic, use this.
Yeah.
It's just garlic. And by the time you've put it in your spaghetti bolognese or whatever, it's garlic. So why not just go down the store and buy a big clove for a big bulb for 50p, rather than grow it, take up 9 months of ground, and lift it up and think, oh, the bloody hell have I bothered with that? So it's the one crop I could really do without.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
for me, it's like one that I love to grow because it's easy. You fertilize it a few times a year,
Yeah,
pop it out. I actually harvested mine all yesterday.
I've done mine as well because this Sunday coming, believe it or not, is the Barclay show, the local show, and one of the
Okay.
classes is a head of garlic, and I've got a
Okay.
lovely one with lovely little purpley tinges down the side. So fingers crossed for that.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah. Have you harvested?
I've harvested about 50% of my garlic. I have 117 cloves that went in. I got worried because of the water that we've been having after being
Yeah.
so dry.
Mm.
Don't usually even worry about harvesting until the first week of July.
Exactly. I mean, I'm 2 weeks ahead of when I would normally.
I
So
know
they
did
were dried up. I mean, they were done.
I did
when
the
rust,
saw.
when rust didn't get me, I'd wait until the lower 2 or 3 leaves were brown and then
Right.
harvest.
Yep. And
I,
mine were
I
all
did I did all the soft neck and some of the others, and then my very favorite, which is I've been calling it Moravian, but I found out from the purveyor it's actually Armenian big heads. I left that in longer because it's doing fine, and I want it to get just a bit bigger. But
Take a note.
as far as rust goes, the only thing I've ever, knock on wood, had it on is hollyhocks. And every year I would
interesting.
get rust like crazy, no matter what I did. So I had to just stop growing hollyhocks.
Mm.
And that's probably a pretty common flower to be in gardens. So chances are good that would be an airborne.
Oh yeah, very, very
Yeah.
English cottage garden flower.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
beside of the front door of the cottage, great big tall spikes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it would just go down in a fiery blaze of rust.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So basically, nothing you can do with rust.
I tried every remedy possible
Yeah,
because
yeah.
people would drive to my front to see the display, But
Lovely.
Okay, we did have a question about powdery mildew. So that'll be nice because that can just lead us right into it. I find that's my biggest disease nemesis in my garden. And it's usually like midsummer, late July, early August, the squash of any kind. A lot of times the cucumbers just really succumb to it. And here's how I've treated it. And Joe is asking, his treatment is usually milk, and I've heard that before.
Yeah.
I cut them off, the leaves all off, and I
Can
try
I,
to.
can I make a suggestion for you, Audrey?
Yeah.
This year, when you get mildew, you will get powdery mildew. On one plant, just totally leave it alone. Do not treat it, and just see what happens. Because this is what I've done 3 or 4 years ago, and there is no difference to the crop whatsoever. If you look at squashes and courgette, zucchinis,
Yeah.
and courgette, and things like the cucurbits, it's always the old leaves that succumb to it. And these old leaves have stopped doing what they're supposed to do to the plant.
Right.
And the new little bright green leaves at the top are taken over. Those little bright green leaves never get powdery mildew, just the old ones. A bit like old age, I suppose, a little bit of arthritis, a little bit of I can't see what I'm doing. The older leaves are succumbing to their natural end, and the young leaves fight the powder. So just for one plant, just leave it and see if it makes a difference. I don't treat it at all now, apart from, as you say, just take the old leaves off now and again when you see the white powder on them.
Yeah, I'm just trying to increase airflow.
Yeah.
So I just,
Okay.
take
Yeah.
off what I can and
So I've gone both ways, Steve. But I find once it's there, and I've tried the milk thing,
Mm.
10% solution, 40% solution, and it doesn't really prevent it. I still get powdery mildew, but I use cold pressed neem oil, about a capful, with Castile soap, pure Castile soap.
Mm.
I use Dr. Bronner's. I don't know if you can get that in England.
I had a bottle behind me just now, actually. Yeah, yeah.
And so I make a solution of that. And what I concentrate on doing is spraying that on the young leaves to kind of keep them from
Mm.
getting it as they mature. And that seems to help. And I was just spraying the top at first, but what I've learned is you got to get the bottom of the leaf as well as the top of the leaf. Right now I already have powdery mildew. It's very early for it.
Wow.
I've got it on a cucumber plant. Um,
But it's
my
rainy and
bee,
humid right now, right?
I know.
Yeah,
Humid.
it's
Yeah, humid.
I
And
mean, that's the
very
combo.
humid. Bee balm gets it real bad for me. And my bee balm, the Monarda, is fine right now. But the cucumbers and the squash. But yeah, neem oil and Castile soap
Now
spray.
is that
Mm.
more preventative or is that, like, actually treating ones that already have it?
Once it already has it is when I start. I've done the preventative. I've done the peroxide, hydrogen peroxide,
Mm.
um, preventatively. Um, but it was like the milk. It didn't seem
I've got
to keep it.
I had a picture somewhere. Oh well. There are a few solutions, but they're SB Plant Invigorator in the UK and Ecofective make one now here in the UK. It's an aphid stopper, but it also does mildew. But it's one of those ones you need to put on before it happens. And what it is, the bacteria outcompete the powdery mildew spores.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So there's a struggle. It's a struggle for life, and hopefully the powdery mildew doesn't win. But most people, as you know, they don't bother until they've got it, and by the time they got it, it's usually too late. You've
Yeah,
like blight. You've got a spray for blight a day before it comes.
right.
Because if you wait till after it's come, the spores are already on the potato or tomato plant, and it's too late. So
yeah.
yeah.
So I think the other thing that I've learned with powdery mildew is try to choose varieties that are listed as powdery mildew resistant.
Mm.
Mhm.
So this year I'm trying a new butternut called butterscotch.
Okay.
It was developed by Cornell University,
Love their stuff.
and
I love their stuff. They
it's supposed to have good
develop
Taking notes
flavor.
again. Hang on.
Yeah, no, the seeds that they crank out are amazing.
I'll send you some if it works out,
All
Steve.
right.
Okay.
Let, let me test her. um,
Yeah, no, those their seeds are bar none.
Yeah.
I love anything whenever I hear Cornell was involved, I'm like, "Okay, I'll have those." Yeah,
Yeah.
they really put it through the testing, and it's wonderful.
The worst part about picking the leaves off the infected plants, affected plants, is the fact that they're so bloody spiky, aren't they? They
Yes.
always get you. You always scratch yourself somewhere, no matter how careful you are. You put long sleeves on, they'll get you at the top.
Yeah.
It's always
so here,
somewhere.
so
Yeah.
here's the part that gets me. I have the cucumber beetle now. I mean, and they
Oh,
went down in a fiery blaze last year to the cucumber beetle. So when you cut the plant, it releases that smell and it
Mm.
attracts the beetle.
and they
So
just jump right in there, don't they?
if I'm getting rid of those leaves, I'm shooting
Yeah.
myself in the foot.
Yeah. Is it one of those things it's better to do late evening when the beetle aren't flying or something?
I should look into that
Yeah.
if that's a better time to do
Uh,
it.
a bit like watering. If you water in the evening, you attract slugs. If you
Right.
water in the morning, the top of the soil's dry by the evening, and slugs don't like it again. Mm.
That's
Well,
I need to look into that.
yeah,
Yeah.
we have another question about onion white rot.
I've had it.
I've never had it. So
I've never had it either.
we're gonna look to you, Steve, for this one.
Onion white rot is horrible. I can't remember what the things are called at the bottom of the onion. The sclerosos or something. I can't remember the name, but they stay in the soil for, depending where you read, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and they'll grow again. Next time they smell an onion, they'll grow. Any allium, they'll grow. They'll infect the bulb, and you've got a ruined crop. It typically happens on soil that has been used before for alliums. So with me and my new allotment, which has only been going since 2020, I'm going to hate saying this, there's no allium white rot at the moment because nobody's brought it in. As soon as someone brings in some infected topsoil and then hands over a young bulb or a bit of onion to somebody else, it will spread. Now, on my old plot, I had it bad, and it was almost disgusting picking the bulbs up. They were all manky at the bottom, horrible. Just like that last potato in the bag. Now, so I did a bit of research, and there's nothing you can do about it. But what I did read is a garlic wash. So what you do, you get a garlic clove, you smash 10 barrels out of it, stick it in the water, let it infuse, and then water the area, that bed, with the garlic wash. Not every time you water, but every 4th or 5th time you water. Carry on growing your cabbages, carry on growing your beans or whatever. Stop growing onions. Now, 2 or 3 years later, it'll be gone because those little scrody things, they go, ooh, onions, and they start going out, they start growing. Oh, no onions, and they die. And then next time you do it, they go, onions, and eventually you kill them all off. So 2 or 3 years, and a bit of perseverance on your part, and you've got to keep remembering to squash these garlics up or whatever. It does work, believe me. I did it on my old council plot, my West End plot, and from having a total wipeout of onions, I had one that was infected 3 years later, and that was it.
Wow.
So it does work. So the garlic wash, it fools the little things into thinking, we got a target, I'll go and get it. Oh, dead. Like a false start.
So white rot follows the soil.
Yeah,
soil-borne.
It is definitely attracted by the smell of a new onion, allium, garlic, shallot, or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. So if they were to, let's say, put it in a pot of new dirt,
no
it should
problem.
be fine.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem. Yeah. Yeah.
So Pauline, that might be an option for you, is to maybe grow some pots of garlic or onion, whatever you're trying to do, and try this idea that Steve says works.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe get some of your ground back.
Even if it takes 3 to 4 years, it's still better than the 7, 8, 9, or 10 years.
Exactly. No, I think that's a great idea. Okay, so how about we talk about blight, which is a nemesis for many.
Yeah.
Because that's airborne, correct? If I'm correct. Mm-hmm. And it's all about, and they usually attach to leaves that are wet, don't they? So it's like you want dry conditions.
Never, ever, ever overhead water tomatoes or potatoes. Never, ever, because you're just making the surface of the leaves nice and wet. Here comes the little spores. Nice wet. We multiply. Here we go again. You know. Always water as close to the soil as you can, and avoid splashing as well. Avoid splashing any dirt, compost onto the lower leaves.
Now, based on your geography, Steve, you all get a lot of rain, correct?
Yeah.
So I think, is that why blight is so common?
Yeah, we get a lot of rain early in the year. I've got a little picture to show you in a minute. There's 2 types of blight. There's early blight and late blight. Late blight is the one that wipes out potato crops and tomato crops.
Okay.
Early blight is very rare in the UK. People think they've got it and they haven't, because we can't see all of that. Can you see that? Right, hang on. Oh, go that way. This is early blight, and so the leaves are brown. You see these spots here? Forget this big bit. That's
Mhm.
it's a funny photograph. It's the only one I could find on the internet, actually. Forget late blight. We'll come back to that. Now, there's this other thing called Septoria leaf spot. Look how look how similar that is to blight.
Yeah.
See the edge of the leaf there?
Yeah.
You know, and so people think they've got early blight, and it's not early blight. They've got Septoria leaf spot. It's still a fungal disease, but it doesn't harm the plant whatsoever. It kills a few leaves, doesn't harm the spuds or the tomatoes or anything.
Okay.
Because I've got early blight. You haven't got early blight. You've got leaf spot. So people think it's very common in the UK, but it's not. It's quite rare. I know it's more common in America and Canada, but yeah.
The leaf spot, you mean?
No,
Or
the early blight. Early blight.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever seen it.
No, but all right. Maybe it's
No,
maybe
no,
I'm
I'm
wrong.
just saying
Yeah.
but I'm one little spot in an
Yeah,
entire
yeah,
country
yeah.
that's enormous.
Yeah.
So
And then what you said, we're wet. We're wet in the spring, very wet this spring, and a lot of people have the septoria leaf spot because their leaves are damp and the spores settled. Oh my
right.
word! I've got blight. You haven't got blight. You've got leaf spot.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And there
But
is no cure for blight other
yes,
than
there is.
spraying it ahead of time.
There is. Yeah,
Oh,
there is a
there
cure.
is?
There's a new cure coming in the UK. I've not got a picture of it now. It actually cures blight when you've got it. Now, what I use
Oh,
is a
wow.
product called, and this is a pre-treatment, JBA Blight Guard.
Okay.
So I know I look at my maps, my website that says the temperature's over 10 degrees, the humidity is over 90% for two days. That is the trigger for blight. Spray with this. So I spray my tomatoes, spray my potatoes. I've not had blight for 3 years. And
Very
all the
good.
allotments around me, all the sites around me, I go back up there in we're talking late blight now, not early blight.
Right.
I go back up there in September. Their tomatoes are hanging off the string. You know, the potato hulms are all black and lying on the ground. And I'm on a plot next to them, and here we are. Yeah, another 3 kilos of potatoes for Steve. You know, yeah,
Okay.
it does work. It just pre-treats the leaf. Again, the spores land on it. They can't compete with what's already on there, so they just die.
Right.
It does work.
Huh. Okay. No,
And
I have seen
yeah,
pre-treatments for this stuff too.
yeah,
Like you can pre-treat.
this is the sort of thing. I was chatting. I think was I chatting? Was it you, Robin, or Ali? I can't remember now. It is available in over there, but it's quite dear because it needs shipping from the UK. So yeah, it's quite dear.
Okay.
Knock on wood, I've never had it. This is the first year I'm growing potatoes, though. So we'll see.
It again,
Okay, human,
it's like I keep wanting to say tomatoes. It's the same as tomatoes. It's husbandry. If your potatoes are flopping over, then there's no air circulation around the base of the potato. So if you need to, stake them, get some air around there, take a few of the lower leaves off, get some circulation. So it's the same sort of husbandry. A lot
yeah.
of these diseases come about because we're lazy. You know, like slugs. Slugs come around because there's a few dead leaves there. Oh, fed up with dead leaves. Oh, there's some nice green leaves there. I'll have those
Yeah.
instead. Same sort of thing. You know, it's
Yeah.
yeah,
It really is beneficial just to be proactive about keeping
yeah.
a clean garden
That's
and
good.
giving everything as much air circulation as you can.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm a jammer inner
I'm a shimmer in
gardener,
too.
Same here. Same here.
so I really have to work at making sure things have airflow because I don't plant them for
Yeah.
airflow.
This is
Um,
the first year. I'm thinking this is the first year that I have ever said to myself, I've got no room left. I honestly think it's the first year. And
wow.
I've got onions with cabbages, I've got tomatoes with onions, and I've got dill around the outside of those. I got broccoli and calabrese and Brussels sprouts going up amongst in between the peas. And all these little things, they confuse all the pests. So I'm just wondering if it might confuse some of the diseases as well, you know.
Well,
You know,
only one way to find that
yeah,
one out,
that's right.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This
Let's
is the
go
first. This
quickly look at this one again. Sorry. So my camera's back to front. So late blight, this is the one that cripples the crop. You got the black, you got the necrosis of the leaf. that blackness follows down the stem and goes into either the tubers of the potato or the fruits of the tomato. That's the crippler. That's the one that that's the one
So
you're going to
really,
be
if you have late blight and cannot treat it, you just need to get your fruit off.
get your fruit off. Cut.
Yeah.
You can last another week, another 4 or 5, 6 days maybe, by cutting the stems down a bit.
Okay.
So it does travel down the sap.
Yeah.
So with the potato, it will travel to the tubers. With the tomatoes, it will travel to the fruit. So if you can intercept it, you can gain yourself a bit of time. You know.
Okay, so you can let things mature a little bit longer before you have to demolish it. I remember seeing it once on a YouTube. It was a UK YouTube channel, and it was like the gardener put on different clothing, like plastic gloves, and it was almost like everything had to be burned.
No,
And
no need whatsoever. No need. Blight needs living tissue to survive. You can compost the leaves. You can grow in the same soil next year. It's fresh every year. It needs living tissue. So you could just leave, apart from the bad husbandry, you could just leave all the leaves on the ground. It
right,
won't affect next year's crop whatsoever. What comes in next year is a new wave.
okay, because it doesn't overwinter in the soil. It's not
Only
like white rot.
unless now this is where I'm coming. This is where if you've got that little volunteer potato, the one you've missed, and it's got blight, then it will be in the soil over winter and it'll grow next
Okay,
year. So this is why volunteer potatoes aren't always a good idea. And if you've got volunteers, it's usually a good idea not to let them grow for 2 years. So you get one lot next year. You need to clear that bed totally of potatoes. All the little
okay,
tiddlers, you've got to get rid of them. Because just in case, you might it might not know it's got blight, but it might have, and it's not worth the risk, you know.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's a funny one, you know. It's the same with tomatoes. You know, people overwinter tomatoes in their greenhouse, and it's got a bit of blight, and then yeah, doesn't always show up. Just it could be a dormant spore, and there it is next year. You know,
yeah.
living
So there's
tissue.
no advantage to having it in a polytunnel or a greenhouse
Not
because your
really.
doors are open
Yeah, yeah.
usually
This
at that
time of
point.
year, especially. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The ones undercover will succumb later. That's for sure, because they're not 360 degrees open to the elements. You know, they just got that 2 doors.
Yeah.
I've often seen in the UK on the channels where the problems are just on the first 2 or 3 plants
Yeah,
near the doors.
yeah,
Everything on
yeah,
the
yeah.
inside is okay.
And then it would be what Audrey was saying. As you brush by them, you take it down the tunnel.
Right.
That's
So
true.
it would be then, yes, on
Yeah.
living tissue. Yeah, yeah.
So
Horrible,
that
horrible one.
that was an interesting one. I was always freaking out about tobacco mosaic virus,
Mm,
which, it's something that happens in the South where they grow the tobacco here in the US. But, the tomato family, the peppers, tomatoes can all get this. My neighbor, who's now moved, but she had a beautiful garden, but she was in there with her cigarette in her mouth and her hands while she's working her tomatoes, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's how it happens, and my tomatoes aren't too
yeah,
far away from your tomatoes."
Oh,
yeah. Chris has just said, is that chemical or natural, Steve? It's not totally organic. This JBA, I take it. But it is a natural product. It's not organic, but it is approved by the Soil Association. It's a funny one. This we just pretend this is organic, but it's in a plastic bottle. So how's that organic? All right, the treatment itself is organic, but what about all these little bits of microplastics that are falling into the solution and going into your peas and your potatoes and that? You know, it's a funny one. It's all these people say, "Oh, I'm organic," as they proudly pour their stuff out of a plastic jug. You know, it's it's a weird one. You got to remember at the end of the day, strychnine is organic. The Ebola virus is organic. Arsenic's organic. You know, but you wouldn't put it on your plants, would you? Yeah, it's a funny. I like to be natural if I can. That's the thing. Natural rather than organic, I think, is the way. Yeah,
well, because it's hard to start an organic garden. And I want to say like a certified organic.
yeah.
I don't know how they ever get there because the
You,
soil obviously has not
yeah,
been organic since it.
It takes 3 years here to get certified, 3 or more
yeah,
years.
3 to 5 years. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But you've got to provide such proof that you have
Oh
not
yeah.
imported anything,
Oh
or
yeah.
the compost, or the manure, or even if the manure has come from cattle or cows that have eaten something that's not organic, that's
Right.
another year you got to wait.
Right. Right.
One of
No, I
the one of the farmers at the farmers market lost their certification, not because of what they did, but because of the flooding.
Yeah,
And there was a pig farm
yeah,
next door, and with the flooding, all that came across his land.
wow, can you imagine that after working that hard to get certified organic?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm always amazed when something is actually certified organic. I'm like, these people have done a lot of work.
Mm.
Like that's a lot of work.
And this is why they charge a premium price for their product, I suppose.
Sure.
You know,
And I think that's well earned actually for what they've gone through.
yeah.
Maybe touch on black spot. I know it's mainly a rose.
Over to you
Roses.
two for this one. I know a bit about it, but I'll let somebody else have a go. You know what I mean?
So I had black spot on my big maple on that side of the house.
Okay.
And didn't want to cut it down, just kind of wrote it out, see what would happen. And for 2 years had spotty leaves and then it was gone. Haven't had
Hmm.
it since. Knock on wood.
Well, I think it's like other spots. I mean, a lot of things can get leaf spots, right? Strawberries can look like they have freckles. I mean,
Yeah.
Mhm.
um, but they don't always, they'll hurt the plant, but they don't necessarily, like, I was a rose grower. That was my first foray into gardening. And, when you got black spot, I mean, it was everywhere. One got it and they all got it. And at that point, it was pretty much you just need to take off those leaves
Mm.
and like and there were also powders that we could sprinkle on it and you never watered at night and just a lot of the
Sulfur.
same
Is it sulfur is one of the ones? I can't remember.
sulfur.
I think so. I can't remember. I don't grow ornamentals really, just as companion plants. So
Yes.
The
So
ben
has anyone else had issues with some kind of black spot
so,
or leaf spot that they're getting on some of their
I,
other.
I think it is sulfur because I know that in London, the city, they don't have much rose leaf spot, black spot, because of all the exhaust fumes. Maybe
Oh,
different now that they've cleaned the air up a little bit, but the sulfur
interesting.
and the exhaust fumes clean the plants. And I was watching a
Interesting.
channel the other day, just after the Chelsea Flower Show, someone talking about roses. You never seem to get the leaf spot on the first flush of flowers. It's when the second flowers come, the first lot have been cropped off, taken, whatever.
Right.
When the second lot start budding up, you get the black spot. And what it is, it's the plant is so weak from growing the first flowers, it's got no defense. So you need to feed, get it back up to and then it can fight off the spot, the leaf spot. So
Oh,
I can't remember who it was who was saying it, but it makes sense.
interesting. I've
It's
never
like a
heard
lot of
that.
things.
That
Let the
is
plant fight itself rather than you try and help it.
right.
Yeah.
there's one that I'm pretty sure this is what I get. I've never had it confirmed. It's called anthracnose, which is
That
I think
sounds like a serious powder that shouldn't go anywhere.
but
Yeah.
it gets the leaves get kind of yellow and dotty, spotty. Usually the ones down closest to the soil,
Mm.
on a plant. Um, it's a fungus, and cucumbers, melons, tomatoes can get it. It's primarily it happens on trees. Um, I just I've just always clipped the leaves off because again, it always seems to attack the bottom leaves, and I just cut it off. And I think it's what my phlox gets every year. And
Mm.
I mean, I just end up cutting the
I'm just going to
phlox
open up
down.
the chat on YouTube a minute. Carry on, guys, because there's a few questions I want to answer, if you know what I mean.
No,
Mhm.
yeah.
But if you had a really bad infestation, that one will go down with copper spray. But I've never had it go past, taking those bottom leaves off before.
Well, and I think anything in the bottom, any leaf on the bottom is subject to something coming up with splashback
Hmm.
from the soil, right? So that makes great sense that you could just cut those off.
I think that's what my Borlatos got last year, because I had some kind of fungus that was coming up from the bottom. And so I took all my pods, and my pods had all swelled and formed beans at that time. And it was just about the time when it would start to get to the point where they'd begin drying.
Yeah.
Took them all off. And it was kind of dumb luck because I found out I really like the beans at that stage, that green stage. They are
Okay.
so tasty. I never would have figured that because I would have left them to dry like I had
Right,
previously.
because that's kind of why you grow those, right? For dry
Hmm.
beans. Absolutely. Mel is asking what she can do about red spider mites. Now, that's a bug, not really a disease, but any thoughts on red spider mites?
Ooh,
Don't they
yeah.
love dry? Isn't Don't they love dry? Or I'm
I'm out
not
of
good
my
at this
depth
one.
with this
Yeah.
one. I'm out of my depth. Uh,
Yeah, very warm and very dry conditions. So keep the humidity up in the greenhouse. This is
Yeah.
probably why you don't see red spider mite a lot outdoors. It's normally just inside. So gravel trays full of water. I use I'm just struggling with my ginger actually, and what someone recommended was I got these little expanded clay balls, and I
uh-huh.
put a tray of those, and I put the ginger on that, and it's growing quite well now. So I water those all the time, and they such a big surface area, very very humid. So provide a bit of humidity in the greenhouse or the polytunnel or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe's agreeing. Yes, increase humidity.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Were there any other questions that you saw there, Steve?
I'm just going. Yeah, it's all right. I'll just pick them up now and again.
Oh, okay. All right. Do either one of you have any other diseases that we'd like to talk about?
Well, I got this funny itch at the moment.
I know. I know.
Well, I've never had it, but I see it a lot on the channels. Club root.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Ha-
Brassica problem. Once it's on a site or a garden, it's virtually there forever. It's either change the soil or stop growing, and this is where a lot of the old-fashioned. I'm being a bit the older way of gardening. The rotating of the four crops. One follows the other, follows the other, follows the other. So if you
Right.
grow brassicas in one area, it's not going to grow there again for 3 or 4 years, and it dies off. And that's if you've got club root on a site, you need to do that. It's horrible. And the other thing that prevents it is very very alkaline soil. So a lot of people add lots of lime.
Yep.
You'll see Nigel muddy boots. You'll see when he's
Yes.
putting his Brussels
He
sprouts.
loves
He
putting lime
chucks
in.
in white powder
He
like mad. Yeah,
He does.
yeah. But he doesn't
But it
get club
seems
root.
to
He doesn't
I
get club
know, but
root.
he
So,
seemed it works for him.
yeah.
So I'm like, I don't
It's
yes.
like, do you have a shampoo over there called Head and Shoulders?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you seen the advert for it? And there's a lady's bag is fallen open, and there's a little bottle of Head and Shoulders, and a friend says, "I didn't know you had head and I didn't know you had dandruff. I don't. I use Head and Shoulders. I didn't know you had club root. I don't. I use lime. It's the same sort of thing. Every
I'm
time I see
preventing
them
it,
do
but
that,
thank you for
I
noticing.
think of
Yes.
this shampoo advert. Oh dear me.
That's
I
funny.
I think for most of these, isn't it just like Steve was saying, good husbandry? Keep
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
airflow, choose more disease resistant varieties to grow. Um, what else?
Let the
But
plant do
what
its own
about
thing. I got this one to show you here. Now this is an advert. I was sent this. I'm quite into these guys. They're called Ecofective. Ecofective. I met them at a garden press event in London. and I just love their raison d'etre. You know, it's all about natural. But this one's called Plant Disease Defense. It doesn't tell you what it's for, but what it does tell you is it sprays the plant with an invasive fungus. The plant thinks, oh my word, I'm under attack. And so what I was saying just earlier on, it boosts its own defenses. It thinks, crikey, we're getting eaten alive here, guys, or whatever. And the plant boosts its own immune system. So you're not curing the problem, but what you are doing is making the plant a lot stronger. You know, husbandry, keep it all neat and tidy, get it looking after itself, so we haven't got to bother, sort of thing. It's a
So,
weird one.
how do jammer inners get through that?
I don't know. I'm not. I was going to use it yesterday and the day before, but it's been just too stupidly hot to spray at the moment.
Sure,
You
yeah,
know,
that would
it's
probably
a
kill
waste
your
of time.
plant, right? Not help it.
So this jammer inner, Audrey, is making a hard decision here this week whether I'm pulling out stuff that I'm letting go to seed to save for the library, because it's the easiest thing to,
Yeah.
you know, get rid of in the garden to make the airflow.
Right, and those
but-
plants will get big,
Oh, they get
right?
big.
Yeah, they get huge if you let them go to seed.
Absolutely.
So,
The-
yeah, I just
One more.
go ahead.
Okay, one more thing with good husbandry is when you go to buy a plant, look it over real good before you buy it. Because you don't want to bring something home from the big box store or the nursery, and then add a baddie to your own garden.
Or if you don't do that, up the plant and put the top of the plant in a bucket of water with some sort of solution in it and just kill whatever's on there. A little bit of salty solution kills the baby slugs. In case you haven't seen them, you know, you just wash it all off, sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, a bit like an aquarium. I've got an aquarium. I buy plants now and again, and there's hidden snail eggs. So you dunk the plant in a copper sulfate solution and kill the snails. You know what I mean? So nothing worse than I don't know how many days it is now. It's almost every 28 days. You look at the glass of the aquarium, and there's 25,000 slugs all going to the top to mate. You know, whatever they do.
Yeah.
Well, I just started thinking about that because the jumping worm is getting bigger, and we don't have it here, but they have it up in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
There's been a few
just a
matter
of.
It's been, it's just a matter of time before we have it. So I made a tough decision. I used to bring plants home from Wisconsin all the time that I'd buy up there in nurseries, and I'm not doing it.
Terrible. And this is a lot of the problem with gifting plants. You know, Audrey gives Robin a plant, and oh my God, you've got the same diseases next week. You know, it's a funny one. Yeah.
Okay, now jumping worm sounds horrifying. What exactly is that?
It's a baddie. They actually take over and sort of take over for the regular earthworms that we want.
Oh.
Yeah, so they eat the native worms, don't they?
They do.
And so they're like that slug that eats other slugs, right?
Yeah.
The leopard one is a leopard slug. Yeah.
It does eat them, but it's a little bit of a fallacy that that's all it eats. It does eat other things as well.
Okay.
But it does eat slugs. So it is a nice slug. In the UK, there's 40 varieties of slug, and only 8 of them eat live vegetation. And so people willy-nilly kill the slugs left, right, and Charlie, but they're killing the other 32 that aren't unfriendly, you know?
Yeah.
Some of them we need to eat the dead vegetation. Some are underground eating the dead cockroaches or whatever's there, you know? Yeah. It's weird, really, isn't it?
Yes.
Let's make a note here. Joe's made a point. If you've got slabs in your polytunnel or greenhouse, just spray them down all the time. Or trays of water, a red spider mite, sorry. Yeah. Club root, plant in raised beds. That's all you can do if you've really got it bad and you can't cure it with lime. Yeah.
Yeah, I am tempted though as I watch Muddy Boots, I'm always tempted to plant my brassicas with lime.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I haven't done that yet, because it seems like, well, let's make sure it's not here.
Nearly every veg tends to like being grown below pH 7, which is neutral. So potatoes like, say, 5.5 or whatever, But brassicas, they prefer to be above 7. You know.
Yeah, so I
Mm.
think I might do that this year with my second planting. We'll see how that goes.
See, we're not too bad where I live because I live in the Cotswolds, and the hill where my allotment is, it's built. It's on limestone, and limestone.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
So
yeah. Hello.
the soil is naturally above pH 7.
Yeah.
Not
Oh,
not so much
interesting.
that nothing else would grow. Don't get me wrong. It's just hovering above above neutral. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But up in the
interesting.
Midlands, maybe
Yeah.
they may have acidic soil, so brassicas suffer straight away. You know. Yeah.
Pauline's asking if anyone has New Zealand flatworms.
Not knowingly.
Yeah.
I've been to the Caribbean a few times. I got a story about that. Sorry, I got to say. I was in the Caribbean. I was in Montserrat. Before the volcano blew up, we're on a ship out there. The Royal Navy's always got a ship out there for disaster relief. You know, we've got lots of colonies and and
Sure.
islands over there and stuff like that. And the volcano blew up. But the time before that, I was there. We got fed up being in the town, so me and a couple of mates went up into the hills and went to a little restaurant. Didn't really understand the menu, and there's a thing called mountain chicken. So I had this mountain chicken, thinking, oh yeah, nice Caribbean bit of jerk spice on the chicken. A dirty, great big toad arrived on a plate, and it is called mountain chicken. A great big huge toad. Now it turns out that this toad is now extinct in Montserrat, and it's also on its last legs in a few other islands around the place. And I feel so guilty. I had this. I ate part of it. I couldn't eat it. I didn't like it. My mate ate it though. But it's a local delicacy. But now it's an endangered species. So this is the what I mean is what I was getting at is I've not knowingly had New Zealand flatworms.
Yeah, they sound horrifying too. Some of
Yeah,
these things they're just named to sound scary,
yeah.
I think. So any other thoughts, Robin or Steve? Because otherwise I'm gonna have Steve talk about his straw
Ooh,
bales a little bit. I thought that might
yeah.
end us on a happier note than diseases
Well, I
and
tell you,
bugs.
there's a
I have
couple
to
of them.
just one more, Steve, on diseases. I was trying to look up what it is. I can't find it quick. My magnolia tree was
Mhm.
diseased. It had this fungus that was all over the trunk, and the leaves were very diseased. And it's a pretty tree right next to the patio, and it shades that afternoon sun. Plus in the spring, it's so pretty, let's face it.
Sure.
But I'm like, honey, we just got to cut our losses and take it out. He's like, oh, we can't take Maggie out. We named her. We named it, of
Well,
course.
once it's named, you can't take it out, right?
And I'm like, well, I don't know. I've tried everything natural that is out there. Let's try Miracle Grow. So we started giving it Miracle Grow. It turned right around. So now
Mhm.
we call Maggie's a druggie because we still feed her. We still feed her Miracle Grow because she's made a complete 360.
Wow.
She's, I've got to shape her up again this year now that she's healthy again. So, well, as much as I always try to be natural as possible, sometimes you gotta make
So
exceptions.
what is the Miracle Grow? Is it a feed or a spray or?
Miracle Grow is a chemical fertilizer,
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
which isn't necessarily bad, but
But it's this neon blue color
it's
that does not
Oh,
exist
yeah,
in
yeah.
nature.
Sorry, I was thinking you were meaning something else made by Miracle Grow. Yeah, we have the Miracle Grow.
Oh,
Yeah, you
yeah.
stick it in a little pot on your hose pipe and it goes from
Yes.
bright
Yes.
sulfate
Yes.
blue to nothing. Yeah, yeah.
that's the one.
Sometimes, like you said, inorganic is just as good as organic, and inorganic works about 20 or 30 times as fast. So if you've got a plant that needs instant treatment, there's no point waiting for the chicken manure pellets to rot down. You
Well,
need to
and
get in there.
you also aren't gonna eat the magnolia tree.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
So
we
I
are
feel
not gonna.
like trees and flowers are fair game for anything.
And
'Cause, yeah,
again,
Miracle
you're,
Grow doesn't make them grow like weeds.
you're boosting the plant to help itself again. Look, see,
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
shrugged off that disease. Yeah.
It sure
It's had
did.
it got a penicillin and it's back to normal, you know?
There you
And
go.
it was, if it's at the point where I'm giving up on it, it was bad. You can
Yeah.
only imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Maggie the druggie.
Maggie the druggie. I love that. I love that.
Maggie the Miracle, yeah.
I love So,
Oh, dear.
Steve, tell us about this wonderful experiment you're
Well,
doing.
last year, towards the end of last year, I sort of mentioned on my channel that you can only film planting cabbage seeds so many times, you know what I mean? And it gets a bit repetitive and stuff like that. So I wasn't getting bored. Anyway, a lovely couple in New Zealand, Nicola and Michael, they sent me £25 as a gift voucher. No, it was a PayPal payment. And they said, go and buy yourself some straw bales and try straw bale gardening. So I sat on the money until March because there's no point buying over winter. I bought a lot of straw bales. And during that time, the months, I researched how to grow in straw bales. And I bought some high nitrogen fertilizer, put the straw bales where I wanted them, bought some high nitrate fertilizer, high nitrogen fertilizer, sprayed them, got them rotting down, a little bit of extra warmth in them, I could feel it. And I just planted everything I've got in the ground at the allotment, I've planted in the bales. We've got orange balm, we've got onions, we've got shallots, we've got brassicas, potatoes, sweet chilies, tomato, and they're all growing exactly just as well as they are in the ground. And it's absolutely incredible. Plus, they're 15 inches higher than the ground, so it's easier for poor old Steve, like, you know.
Yuck.
And yeah, and at the end of the year, I got 8 straw bales worth of mulch or whatever, manure,
Right.
compost, you know. It really is productive. I'm almost at the point of thinking, what's the point of having one straw bale? I've got one little bit where there's 2 together. What's the point of having just one straw bale? Now I can reach over 4. So why not put 4 side by side and take up the whole bed, you know? One straw bale, I can't remember what it is now, 15 inches, 15 inches wide. So you've sort of negated using the edges. So you're just growing in the middle. But
Right.
if I have 4 together, I got all that space, you know? So next year I'm thinking, why not give it a go? I mean, what are they? They're £4 each. What's that? $5.50, I suppose, or something like that.
Okay.
They're not the big one. They're not the mass. The problem is finding them because a lot of farmers these days make those massive square bales, the big long ones, or
Yeah.
the big roly poly ones
big
wrapped
round
in a black
ones, yeah.
dustbin bag. Yeah. No. But I found a farm. It's totally organic. It's totally natural. The straw's not the there's been no herbicide used on the grass, on the wheat or the barley. And yeah, I'm loving it. I really am loving it. And everybody who walks by, what are you doing there then? Steve? What are you doing? Well, I go up there for an hour just to do something. I end up being there for 2 hours because I'm bloody talking all the time about the straw bales.
Well, they're
Yeah,
they're so unique, and
yeah, yeah,
you see all this stuff growing out
yeah,
of them, and you think, "How on earth is that
yeah.
happening?"
The thing that really got me was, like I said, I researched all these channels, and every channel said you must. And wasn't a case of do it; it was you must put the straw bales down with the string. I can't do that. The string around the outside of the bale, so the bale doesn't collapse during the season. So, not knowing any better, I did this, and I was thinking, well, these bales are taking a long time to rot down, and I just carried on googling and googling and googling. About 8 pages down, I come across Gardener Scott. We all know Gardener Scott.
Sure.
He did a video about setting up straw bales, and so I thought, oh, I'll watch another one. You know, I watch a lot of his videos anyway. Don't get me wrong. And there's one bit he said, and he actually said, it doesn't matter which way the string goes as long as the straw's facing upwards. I looked at mine, and every single one the straw's facing sideways, so the liquid can't get down the bloody tubes, like, you know. So I bought 2 more, put them with the string over top and bottom, because this is how that farm baled their straw. Fantastic! It rotted down in a third of the time of the other ones, and it's caught up and overtaken the first lot I put down. So live and learn. You know, you don't always believe all the experts. You know. So
Well, because not everyone's always an expert.
yes, right. That's
Yes,
right.
there's
Yeah,
there's the truth. That's why I like to say over my depth on this one. Nope, I'm not even gonna answer it.
yeah.
Uh, that sounds Isn't that Ruth Is that a Ruth Stout?
Stout.
Ruth
I think
Stout, that's the chucking loads of straw down and growing potatoes underneath the
potatoes.
straw.
Yes. Okay.
Well, I did that, and all I had was slugs. I grew more slugs than potatoes that year. So,
And
yeah,
slugs will eat potatoes?
very much so. Yeah, I
Okay.
just tipped out a few buckets for the show, and I on Sunday, one of the classes is 4 new potatoes, and I got 4 perfectly. Oh, they're the best I've ever had. They're all matching together. So I'm looking at them, I'm wiping them with a soft little bit of cloth, a bit of bloody big hole underneath where a slug's eating one of them. Oh, so I only had 4, so I can't put those in. I had to go down a size to like hen egg size, hen's egg size potatoes. Yeah, I was gutted. I really was gutted.
No, you like doing those competitions, don't you?
I do, yeah, I do. It's just yeah, I grow to eat, but I'm desperate now to harvest. I got lettuce, so I want to pick that lettuce. I can't pick the lettuce because it's in a show on Sunday. I need 2 lettuces. I got these 2 lettuces. I'm looking at them. I think I want to buy it. I want to eat, and I can't pick those either in case I mess that one up. So I got to leave those 4. Oh, I've got 6. Oh, so Monday I will be harvesting like mad.
So you'll be eating salads for the next month.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what
Yeah.
we got: spring onions, class of spring onions, broad beans, peas, garlic, and it goes at a potato. It goes, yeah. I'm actually doing 15 of the 18 vegetable classes, I think.
Wow.
I found one of your videos to be the most fascinating when you were showing how you were prepping for a show,
Prepping them,
how
yeah,
you did the onions and
yeah.
how they were prepped. That was
Right,
fascinating.
get your carrot. You got to clean all the green stuff out around the side with the other carrot and stuff like this. Never wipe a carrot around the way. You always got to wipe it up and down, because if you wipe it round the way, you can damage the skin. And well, little trick. Oh, I've given all the tricks away now.
Yeah, you can't do that because people might be listening.
Yeah, I'm doing a video. I've just started doing a video actually of me prepping for this weekend, but it won't come out until just before the show because I don't want people to come. It's not a big show. Don't get me wrong. But, yeah.
You don't want to help your competition out.
Well, I've held not to blow my own trumpet, but you may notice actually, I got the same shirt on as my thumbnail. This is the shirt I wore the very first time I won a prize there. 2017. That makes this shirt 7 years old. Yeah, 2017. And it's held in the grounds of Berkeley Castle, the oldest castle in the world that's still inhabited by the same family that built it. So it's built in
Wow.
the 1200s and it's still inhabited by the same family. You used to be able to walk from Berkeley Castle to London, 100 miles, all on the Berkeley's land. He used to own all that land, And it's quite funny because it is actually Lord Berkeley himself hands out the trophies, and every year you can see him going, "He's got my bloody silverware again. He's got my silver trophies. I don't want." You can see the look in his eyes, But I'll film it again this Sunday. Hopefully, fingers crossed, they'll do okay again. Fingers
Yeah.
crossed. But,
Well,
yeah.
we'll look forward to hearing about how you do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
anything
awkward. It's awkward
any
to film there because there's so many people, but I'll do what I can.
yeah, anything coming out of the hay bales or straw bales that might
No.
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 Okay.
No. I want to keep those going in there. There could be, because there's one class is called a selection of salad leaves. So I've got a few different lettuces and things in there. So I could just take the odd leaf or 2, but not as a whole plant,
Yeah. Well, we wish you the best for that.
Yeah.
We are at
Yes.
the hour already.
Ooh.
That
My
went fast.
My chatty friends. Yes. No, this was lovely. Hey, thank you, Steve
I'm
and
just
Robin.
making a note of Jean's comment at the top there before we all go. Sorry. Yeah,
No,
I always lose these chats afterwards somehow. I don't know. Marty's Garden. There we are.
Okay. Yeah, the chat doesn't come up as soon as it gets loaded to YouTube, but it will the next day.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what that's about, but
And thank you very much to Siggy as well, who says good luck, Steve. And Joe.
yeah.
I can't read half of these things. Glasses.
We have a rooting for you, Steve, and up with people.
Well done.
Oh,
Yeah.
thumbs up, people. Sorry.
Yeah.
Not up with people.
Up yours, people.
Thank you. Thank you, Mel. Oh, hilarious. Well, Robin and Steve, thank you so much. This was a great, great chat.
Yeah, I love
and,
it.
I always love to learn something new. It's that's isn't that the fun of gardening? There's always
It
something
is,
new to
yes,
learn.
it is, yeah.
Always something new to learn.
And I said, I'm always chatting up the allotment, but I'm not just chatting about, oh, have you seen sewing down the road? She's blah. It's all
Yeah,
about gardening. It's all about helping people and getting
absolutely,
on.
and that's how these great
Yeah,
ideas, I think, get spread, and
yeah.
we all get something new to try.
And
So
they
I
Exactly.
don't,
wish
and those kind of friends don't glaze over when
I
you've
know.
talked too much
well,
about your
When's we
or
garden.
when
They're
gonna
you
like,
shut
pull
tell
up,
out
me
for
new
heaven's
more.
seed
sake?
packets, right? They're like, "Really? You're gonna show me all your onions again?" Yeah, I
Oh,
am. I am, sorry, but, yes,
I've
I
got to
am.
go and watch the paint dry, sorry,
I know. What's better than getting new seed packets? Come on.
yeah.
Anyway anyway, I wish all of you and thank you all for being in our chat. I know so many of you now, and, oh, Pauline made gooseberry gin
Oh,
today.
yeah,
Okay,
Ooh.
Pauline, when I harvested my rhubarb, I put some in vodka and I put some in gin. So
lovely.
we're gonna let that hang out for a month or
Have you
so,
ever
and
made slow gin? It's
no, I
with
haven't.
the fruit of the
Ooh.
blackthorn. I don't know why they call it slow gin. It doesn't last 2 seconds. It's fast gin.
Well, isn't it was a slow gin fizz, that's the one I've seen
Yeah,
where you
right,
put
yeah.
egg whites in it and it's a
Oh.
Well,
whole
it tastes I like it, but it tastes a lot like cough medicine to me.
oh, yeah. So I'm hoping the rhubarb will try, so will be good. So anyway, you all have a great week.
Yeah,
Same time, same place next week. And yeah, great week gardening. I hope weather and heat and cold is in our favor. So
good luck, everybody.
see y'all next
Bye.
time.